There's always somebody that's willing to pay more, and there's usually going to be somebody that's way more expensive than you. I love what Zachariah said, where he says, you also don't want to be known as the cheap guy. He's right. You don't. Because there's a lot of problems that go along with working with clients that are trying to get a deal. They usually end up being the worst clients. Who's got wins? Let's kick us off with a win.
This is a win from a couple weeks ago. Pitch sent a contract out for it, and I know it's coming back. So
let's go.
That $15,000 contract.
Yes, sir. Love to see it. A clean little 15K. We love it. Who else?
Hey, I actually picked up a show that I'll be shooting and producing. So I actually had a client that I was doing that for locally, and then got in talks with this person, and then I've got to do some pre-work. We'll get to town here in about 2 weeks shooting, and it's going to be a really good one. I don't have final figures for that, but it'll be good.
Like when you say show, like you talking TV show?
Yeah.
Nice.
Local ministry, but This one will be better budget than the one that I was taking care of prior. So
heck yeah, dude. Love it. Love it. Other wins.
I sent over a contract or a PO, got my PO back for $32K project, which was awesome.
Let's go.
And then I got this week 2 meetings, kind of like walking through presentations for Monday and Friday. So kind of sort of back to back. Just been a very momentumous weekend or week. And then, yeah. Man,
what a blessing. That's awesome. How does that compare to what you were selling like before you got here?
Well, $1,500 video stuff is cool, but
So you were selling $1,500 videos before, and now you just sold a package for $32K.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing was just approaching the conversation differently rather than just letting them run around with ideas that they have, and just kind of, I don't know, just the way you present video as more of a solution and kind of asking more questions rather than just,
Make sure you drop that in the wins channel for sure. That's awesome. And all of you guys that are getting wins, I love the mindset win with that too, of you're dialing in your mindset, and when you keep the promises that you make to yourself, your confidence increases. And when your confidence increases, you make more money. It's science.
I don't know if it's in the course or not, but just writing contracts and making sure everything's in it that it needs to be, because I know like you need creative style. Some shoots you need to have like per diem for like food, making sure that like you still own the rights to like the creative style and the raw images and all of that.
Very much a personal decision and very much a case-by-case decision. So no, it's not in the course. The reason being is like I don't believe if anyone was to tell you that there is a right and wrong way to do that's like black and white, I feel like they would actually be missing a lot of context. So if you just catch a YouTube video where someone's like, you have to do this, like not really, because it does come down to a case-by-case. For instance, like if the client wants to pay you $20,000 to buy the raw assets from a photo shoot, are you really going to turn them down?
No.
Exactly. So someone that says don't allow raw asset buyout would be wrong. So what I would prefer is if you have a very specific question, that's where the coaching can kind of come in. So do you have a specific question on, hey, I have this upcoming shoot. I'm wondering like how I should structure this deal. I think that would be something I could actually help on.
Okay.
But I really like to take that stuff on case by case, because a lot of time when we were working with small businesses at Grindstone, we weren't licensing photos to like Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 companies. Like we were working with small to medium sized businesses, and they were buying the deliverable, the asset, the deliverable from us. And so if they want to do an asset buyout, then that's a simple clause you can put in your proposal and say, hey, asset buyout is 25% of the project fee. You want all the raw footage, 25%. Or you assess a value of what it might be.
Is there like platforms or softwares you use to write contracts?
I use lawyers. I wouldn't use platforms. Use an attorney. It's the one place, there's 2 places in the world that you don't skimp on with your money, and it's a CPA and an attorney. When they write things for you, they will make you far more money than they will lose you. So do not skimp, do not use ChatGPT. Bad idea. Save up the money.
So don't write my own, have someone else do it for me.
Don't write your own. It's a terrible idea.
I was volunteering for my church doing video and photo for a while, but at the beginning of this year I had to take a step back just to work on my own business, and it was taking up too much of my time and I couldn't give it all to the church. So I was just like, better if I just step back. But they recently just reached back out to me to want to hire me on to do some extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do I go about that? Because I feel like this is right on to what we're talking about right here.
Yeah, just price it as you normally would. Churches are businesses. They're nonprofits that have to go to zero profit at the end of every year. They have money to spend. They need to spend it.
So you don't think it's wrong to charge it?
Absolutely not. I come from a background where we literally just recently had a conversation about bringing an editor on retainer at our church, and I do this stuff. Like I'm good at it. If I wanted to do it, I could do it. Your number one job in business is to turn a profit. If you're running a charity, run a charity. But your number one job is to run a business, and a business needs to profit in order to grow. That's biblical, truly.
And this is a good transition from this question as far as how much to charge for things. How might you structure a deal where you're still making money off of making content for them, but they're not leading at the same time? Like one guy I'm working with wants to do a podcast and he wants me to do all the post stuff. And he's all the way out in New York, so he's just going to record it himself. But, charging however much per episode seems like, I don't know how it would make sense for him in the short term or the long term,
This is a really good question. I was just watching this Myron Golden video. If you guys don't follow Myron Golden, by the way, dude, he's amazing. Go on YouTube and just I've been binging his stuff constantly. He's a Kingdom guy and just brilliant. And he talks about how his highest level coaching program his highest one now is $1 million a year. He has a coaching program for $350,000. And people be like, Myron, how could you charge that much money? And he said, how much money compared to what? And then he goes back to the story in the Bible where King Solomon has, I think it's, somebody can correct me, I think it's Beersheba, come to the palace. And it said that she was so wowed by just the experience of being in what he had built and how the way they were dressed and the way that the experience was, her spirit left her. Like she passed out essentially because it was just such an incredible experience. And she gave him the equivalent of what would today be worth $250 million worth of gold. And that's what the reason is, because he was able to solve huge problems for very powerful people. If he was to compare, he's like, okay, well, cool. Like, yeah, it's 250 grand or 350 grand, but compared to what? Like if I can solve a $10 million problem for somebody, 350,000 is nothing. Second thing is, this is why it's important to understand where your company's at from like your burn, and then to assess what it is actually worth for you to spend the time to get the work done. And that's where I go back to that wealthy creative calculator. I will look back and say, okay, if I want to make this much money, what do I have to charge for this thing? And them making a decision on whether or not they're investing before they're bankrolling on the podcast, that isn't your responsibility. It's theirs. Because people will invest tens of thousands into something that's not returning revenue right now because they see the potential in it. Be confident when you lay out your offer. In the future, when you do this, you just have to just come into this stuff neutral. And the best position you can possibly be in is not needing the deal. And the way that you guys solve that is by driving traffic to your offers, whether that's through organic, through paid, whatever it might be. You have to get more eyeballs on the stuff that you do so that the deals don't have so much meaning to them from a perspective of, oh man, if I don't get this, then what? This one is so big. What if I lose this relationship? That's the worst position you can be in from a negotiation standpoint. So the cure to that is just to market and to consistently put out content to attract new buyers into your atmosphere. Okay, guys, that wraps it up for this workshop call. Great job. Way to bring the energy today, bring the wins. And for all of you who have wins, drop those in the wins channel so that other people that weren't here can see them. And also the future clients that we're going to, work with, like that gives them confidence. And guys, I don't know about you, but maybe when you saw somebody else winning, you're like, man, if he's doing it, I can do it. Or if she's doing it, I can do it. And so that's why it's important to share it, not just so I can market with it, which obviously I love that. And that's really helpful, but truly it is for the people that are in the community so that they continue to execute. So make sure you share those wins. Be proud of your wins. It's a good thing that you're winning. And I will see you guys in the next call.